What's going on, people? We got a fun episode today. Thanks for hanging out. This is the niche. I'm calling niche. We're looking at fitness, motivation, sports news, and today's best sports picks. We're gonna get right into some fitness news and motivation. I've been feeling pretty good about fitness recently. Been hitting the gym really well and having a good time in there. Today, I had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun taking some video clips of the different movements that I was doing. And what got me really excited was I got to capture a couple different things that have really been feeling good in the gym that I'm excited to kind of talk about and share. Over the past few days, I've been doing movement and mobility, and I always tell you that sometimes I feel a little bit like I need some more rest. And then yesterday I got up and I really didn't feel like the body was ready for a lift. So, as an example, I wanted to show you this is kind of what I did yesterday out in the gym in the morning. Instead of weighting the body down with a back squat set, which is what I was on for today, would have been on yesterday, I decided to do some of this movement, jump ropes to get the body moving, inchworms to open up the shoulders and stretch out the hammies, farmer's carries to load the body a little bit just to tell the body like, hey, this work is still coming. We got to keep moving and we got to get things pieced together and recovered. Side lunge walks, trying to work on my hip sockets are a little sore and trying to grease those up, if you will. Windmills is some rotational work because I like to keep that in the mix so that I don't get singular planar and have to catch my kid and pop a vertebrae out or something crazy. Dead hang, stretching out the back of the shoulders, and then Spider-Man's to really just finish it off with a good stretch. And I did a couple different rounds of all of these things and just kind of felt out as I went what needed more work, more attention, and a little bit more care there. So that's what an example of like a mobility day looks like if I ever say that I got out and worked on some mobility. From there, start with some good mornings to get my day started this morning. We got a back squat day with some shoulder accessory and some pull-ups. And this clip is a lot of fun for me because after I took it, I was very happy with my form in the good morning. And then also it captures, I get to talk about how I felt when I did it with this video. You can see looking pretty good there as far as flat back, leaning back, getting down into it. Not 90 degrees, but getting kind of close to that 90-degree angles. And what I was so happy about with this exercise today was I felt so good. A week or two ago, I started working in good mornings as a warm up to my back squat day and just did not feel good at all. Felt unstable, felt weak in my back, felt like my hamstrings were super tight. I was rocking these today and my hamstrings felt strong. I didn't feel it in my back at all. I felt stable there and secure. So really happy with that just because it's one of those like little signs of maybe I'm not like pushing crazy weight on a movement like this, but I feel so strong in it. And I was really happy with that. That's why we're in the gym. That's why we go out there every day. I wanted to show this. This is one of the warm-ups I do for squats. It's called a combat stretch, I believe. And I freaking love it, especially because you'll see me start with my left foot here. I've been noticing that my left heel really wants to pick up off the ground when I'm in my squat down and get to the bottom, and my left heel really wants to rise up out of it. This is helping me work on, I think the cause of that is my left shin and ankle area is tight, weak, one of the two. So when I get down in the combat here, I'm leaning forward, obviously putting a lot of pressure on my leg, my foot, and I'm trying to curl those toes up to my knee. So it's putting all that tension in that hip socket and that quad muscle, and working on getting that knee out over those toes. Feels good to do in general, but then you get into your squat, and after just having done that as kind of a primer movement, getting down in these squats feels so good. I was looking forward to hear this first set. I thought this was interesting, the angle of the bar here. I think it's mostly a camera angle. I tried to really focus on that for the two sets after this, and it didn't seem to be too egregious. And I don't know, maybe it was a little bit off there and leaning to one side, but I didn't really feel it and really try to focus on that for the other sets. But you can see, you can get down in that squat, feeling really strong, really good. What sticks out to me about the back squats today was the fact that it's still kicking my tail. I'm at 195 pounds today. As far as weight goes, I am barefoot, so I always, when I keep a note, you'll see, oh, you can't even see it. It's hiding back here on my bench. But I keep a little notebook with notes from each workout, and one of the notes I try to make consistently is whether or not I have shoes on or I'm barefoot, because it significantly changes the amount of weight that I feel stable and strong under. Less so when I don't have shoes on. So 195 pounds, it moved well, it felt good, but you get to that 7th, 8th, 9th rep, and this is just where I'm at, and I'm still getting better in it. just exhausted, which is why I've switched from 5x5 to 3x10 for right now. But good sets. Got 3 good ones of those in. After that, rocked some pull-ups, which I was really happy with too, because previous weeks working up to about 8 pull-ups in a set, and I would get maybe like 6 good ones in the first set before I really had to start kipping to get my chest up to the bar, but just trying to crank them out, trying to work on that strength. Today, grip felt good, back felt good. I was pretty much able to do all 3 sets of 8 repetitions with body weight without kipping too much. Felt like my extension was really good and my pace was good. Pull-ups are getting stronger, and that felt good. This is a video of me doing some shoulder accessory work, some flies, some front flies, side flies, and some rear flies. I had a note in that video that I wanted to touch on, but I can't seem to get it to load in my Google Photos. The note was, you'll see me in this video if it ever loads, which I don't think it will today. I'm bent over doing these flies and doing the bent over ones out to the side, and you see me kind of pause for a second, and you'll notice the angle changes. And what I'm doing in that is I'm paying attention to like what the muscles are telling me, what I'm really focusing on. And I know that I really want to hit this rear delt as much as I can. So instead of bent over straight out to the side, I go bent over and kind of to the back, almost as if I'm pulling it back like this. And you can even, if you do that, you can feel the difference in this. It's still kind of like a top deltoid area. To this, there's definitely a squeeze in that rear deltoid. So one little note on working out is just having that mental focus in the lift that's trying to pay attention to what muscles am I wanting to work and what do I feel right now and what can I tweak, whether it's an angle or a pace or a whatever, to really feel it more in that muscle. And so I want to make a note on that. You can't see the video, so whatever. Here's a picture of the whole lift today if you want to screenshot that and go do this workout later. And then finally finishing off with some heavy shrugs. And I know these are working because my wonderful wife was giving me a tiny little neck rub at breakfast this morning when she was putting her plate in the sink. She said, "Wow, what are those right there? Those are feeling strong." I said, "Babe, I've been doing heavy shrugs. What can I say?" There it is, 225, moving it. Don't love my shrug form here, but I felt strong in it and felt it in the traps. So happy with the work. I made a note for myself, actually. You can see it. And I really was doing this, control it right here on these shrugs. It's just a little reminder to myself. I have a tendency when I get under that heavy bar, hold that heavy bar, to just throw it around. And sometimes I think that that's actually pretty good. But with these, I really wanted to lock it into the trap muscles. And I feel like I was able to do that. So good workout today. Hope you guys are getting your good workouts into. Let me know below if you have questions about that. We're not going to get a pick sway yet. We'll get into sports news first. And for sports news, first thing I want to touch on was the fact that the Chiefs got a new quarterback coach. Apparently this fine man, what's his name? Girardi. David Girardi is the new quarterbacks coach for the Kansas City Chiefs. And apparently he's been the, pass game analyst and assistant quarterback coach for the past few seasons. Now he'll step, Andy says, naturally into this role. So excited for that. I had a few bigger names that I was kind of hoping like maybe they go snag as opportunities, but this makes a ton of sense, so hope it's a good fit. Another sports news that I thought was a little interesting. Leslie Frazier. Oh, hopefully that's not making any noise. Oh, don't tell me. Has that been just rolling in the video in the background? I'm sorry if it was, guys. I'm not going to restart. You clicked out 10 minutes ago anyway. Who cares? Oh, no. He's going to take the year off as the Bills defensive coordinator, which feels like fired or quit, but apparently he's maybe just going to show back up after this next season. I thought that was a little interesting. It could be, I'm not making a judgment call. Like, if you need to take a break, take a break. And if you have the capacity to do so, especially so, it could be a personal reason, family reason, whatever it may be. I just thought that was interesting that he's not fired, that he's not quitting. He's taking a year off, and he's the defensive coordinator, and they've had a really solid defense. Top 5, top 10 defense, I think, since he's been there. So, I don't know. Thought that was interesting. I haven't seen any specifics on why he's doing that, but interesting. And partially interesting, I suppose, because I've been of the opinion, maybe I even stated it in an episode prior, still of the opinion that the Bills are really actually on a little bit of a slide. They've been the team that's supposed to be so good 2-3 years in a row. I just can't seem to piece it together. They've been close, right? and especially not this past season, but the season before, getting into Arrowhead and losing, heartbreaker in overtime, last minute, blah blah blah, crazy game. So they were close to the AFC Championship game, right? Is that the year we lost to the Bills? Because then yeah, the next year we lost to the next game we lost to the Bengals. So all that to say, I think they might only win 10 games next year. I think the defensive thing could play a role. I don't think Josh Allen's got everything queued up. I could be totally wrong, but everybody loves to hype up the Bills, and I don't know. I don't think so. That's pretty much it for news. Not too much going on in sports right now. There's a lot of controversy around the pitch clock in baseball. I think maybe I brought that up an episode or two ago. In fact, I don't know if it had happened yet, but one of the preseason games, the spring training games, actually ended on a pitch clock violation. Not for the pitcher, but for the batter, the batting box violation. And I just think that's wild. Man, I hope that it doesn't become annoying. There's been moments in like football replays and basketball replays where having the technology in that kind of a way disrupts the flow of the game, and it is kind of annoying. But you get it at times too. Like a good use case, I suppose, is how in basketball right now, if the referee is really not sure if the shooter was on the line or just outside of the 3-point line, he can say 3 and then quickly just give the booth one of these. And they'll, in a timeout, review that real quick, whether or not it was a 2-point or 3-point. I think that's great. That's perfect. It doesn't interrupt the game. They get it right. They keep moving. That's awesome. In baseball, with this batter's clock, I'm worried that with the initial institution of it, it's going to do these silly things like interrupt the game, or even, I guess what I'm afraid of is speed it up so much that the game doesn't feel the same. It doesn't feel like baseball. Baseball is America's pastime. Baseball is a game that's not supposed to necessarily be rushed through. I'm of the opinion, if you want to speed the game along, it makes so much more sense to just shorten the game as far as innings go, rather than saying, hey, we're just going to play the same amount of baseball, but we're going to make it a lot quicker. I don't know. We'll see. I'm saying all of my opinions on this with like an asterisk until I really get the chance to sit down and watch a full game, or even go to a game, to see what that feels like for both maybe the players and even the fans in the stadium. So we'll see. Too bad that one of the games already ended on a batter's box clock. That's, I think, pretty interesting. But here's the picks on Tuesday. I don't think I got this video pushed out, but these are the 4 picks that I picked, and they did not go very well. Clemson, I think, lost by 7. That's just how it goes. That's gambling. Duke I think they won by 4. So they did not cover that. Seton Hall lost. And Tech did cover at Kansas. Don't remember the final score of that, but that was my only win out of the 4. Record goes to 17-25. That's not great. We're not going to talk about it too much. We're going to keep moving because that's the only choice we have when it comes to getting to a positive record. Today's picks, they're a bit tricky. I got Xavier plus Xavier on there, baby. That's an easy fix real quick. I don't know about this Xavier game. At Providence. I like Providence. 3.5 points, man. I've already changed my TCU bet from what I first bet. I'm tempted to change this Providence bet. At Providence. I don't think it's their senior night yet because I think they have 2 home games here in March. Madness, baby. Let's go. I should start the episode off with that. All I do is talk about college basketball bets right now, and I don't even start talking about madness at the beginning of this episode. Why do you guys even watch this junk? Xavier plus 3.5. Sticking with it. I've got no great reason to go back on that pick. They've had a couple good wins recently. Providence has more bad losses. Not bad. They've got more losses than wins, I think, in the last 2 or 3 games. And I think Xavier's fighting for the top spot in the league still. That may or may not be true. Nonetheless, Xavier plus 3.5, baby. Kansas State minus 7.5 versus Oklahoma. Home game, K-State. Emotional end of the season. And by end of the season, I mean for the fans at home. For Jerome Tang in his inaugural season. K-State's been awesome. 11th ranked team in the country. They lost to Oklahoma. At Oklahoma, I think there's enough emotions and fight in this team and in this game, and they're playing well enough right now. End of the season, they got to have it. Going into the Big 12 tourney, I think they wallop Oklahoma. That's my hope. I hope they win by 10 or more. So I don't typically, did I say this? I don't typically bet for K-State or Wichita State, specifically those two teams, because I just have too much emotional connection to them wanting them to win. So you guys can laugh at me tomorrow in the video if K-State doesn't cover, but I think they will. TCU moneyline versus Texas. I initially had Texas plus 3.5. The line changed before I could get it to plus 2.5. So I was like, well, I might as well just bet Texas money line then. Problem with that is I don't think they're gonna win. So I went TCU money line. I think Texas has every reason to win. They are still in the runnings for a share of the Big 12 title. They would have to beat TCU at TCU tonight and beat Kansas at Texas in the final game of the season this week. But I think TCU at home is putting some pieces together, and they feel the same sense of urgency for the fact that it's the end of the season, going into March Madness, Big 12 tournament, and then March Madness. I think if Texas wins, it's a tough one. I mean, what? Texas just lost at Baylor. Texas, I think they had one. I think their last 2 road games are losses. Too bad I'm not recording this on like a computer where I could just look it up real quick. But I think TCU wins. That's my final answer. I don't know about that one. Big 12, man. It gets me. It gets me. But TCU, moneyline versus Texas. Those are our 3 picks. Tomorrow we're going to be 20 and 25. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. I don't have any parenting advice today. If you're a parent, you're incredible. If you don't know if you want to be a parent, you should be a parent. There's a lot of people who maybe it's not for them. They have other things going on or reasons that they can or cannot be a parent or don't want to be a parent. But if you look forward to your future and you're thinking about being a parent, it is the greatest blessing in life. And there's nothing more special than smiling on your kids' faces and their giggles and holding them in your arms, all that fun stuff. So if you have a kid or kids, cherish them tonight. That's your parenting advice and what I ask you to do. I appreciate the heck out of you guys. This is the Niche. I'm Colin Nitcher. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for hanging out, baby. Wednesday, halfway through the week. Keep pushing. And let's hit these picks tonight. See you guys tomorrow.